What is up, people? We're back with Down the Middle podcast. I'm Ryan.
My name's Nomal.
And we have a very I'm super excited for this one.
Yeah, I
So we're both exhausted, but very excited prospect for this video. This is our first Down the Middle original. So usually we cover, Joe Biden said he's going to shoot everyone, or this guy did this, or whatever is happening in the current events of the political scene. But this time we're coming to you with something that we invented. We're going to explain it to you and why it's a detriment to society.
Yeah. I mean, we covered plenty of Kevlar vests and nukes and stuff like that. Yeah. And, Russians.
But now the real interesting stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, we're basically going to go into our whole idea of what the political atmosphere is in America right now. And we like to call it the checklist mentality.
Ooh, that sounds so good.
So good.
So when we came to you months ago, I don't know if you know how long ago, we made our first video.
April 23rd.
That's not facts.
That's facts.
What?
Yep, that was our first video.
Wow, that was crazy. All right, video's done.
Real fan.
that was crazy. How do you know that?
I remember the date.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So what we said in that video was the solution to the political scene as we see it now, the radicalization of the political scene, is public discourse, conversation on both sides, and just an open-mindedness to solve these problems. Mm-hmm. Now, what we see now, so obviously we proposed our solution, but what we didn't do, Kamala Harris would be disappointed, was we didn't find what the true problem is. And now we've...
I thought you were going to say we didn't laugh.
Oh. We didn't laugh at all the situation and then cackle and run away.
Yeah.
But we didn't identify what we specifically see as the true problem. Radicalization, polarization, yes, those are big issues. But that specific thing we call the checklist mentality.
Yeah. So we'll get into what the checklist mentality is, or how we define it, because, I guess we pretty much copyrighted it, right? Yeah, we define it, right? And then we'll go into kind of like the atmosphere right now, as we always do with every single video.
Yeah.
But just to give you, because I have some stats about more so like the ideologies of, or the thoughts of political parties on the opposite side from each respective group. And then I guess we just think up some solutions on the spot, kind of, and just really go from there.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to say what the checklist mentality is, it's a notion that you could basically, based on someone's political affiliation, that you could pretty much surmise what they believe in, what they think, who they are as a person, and just in general, like their whole life story based on their political affiliation, and you can already judge them for who they are without having a single conversation with them.
Yeah, and the real harm to it is the idea that, and we'll get into the extremes. The extremes are the harm to it, but very abstract traits to the person that you can associate with the person just based on their political affiliation. So things that have nothing to do with politics now are correlated to the person simply because they believe one side of the political spectrum, and that is wrong on its face.
Yeah. So, for example, that would be if you're having a conversation with someone and they say they're pro-choice, right? And pro-choice is a left-leaning ideology, right? Yeah. So now someone could take that. Not could. I mean, it's not right. I'm not saying it could if it's right. I'm saying the way it works. So someone could take that idea and say, okay, so now they could probably predict that they're against 2A or are pro-environmentalist or pro-vegan. Like all these things that for some reason that one thing just on the checklist, now everything on the left side is probably what you fit into.
And this is the danger of extremism, because now you have this society that's assuming things about people and that we can just make these assumptions. And obviously with the radicalization, the polarization, and all that we talk about, the extent to where we can push these things has become clear cut. So with conservatives, because it's obviously just analyzing the checklist mentality by itself, it's not the most controversial, not the most dangerous thing, because if you're on one side of the political spectrum, then you believe certain things.
Yeah.
So that's not crazy to think that if someone is in support of 2A, they would support pro-choice too. But now where it becomes dangerous is when you push that to the extreme, because now it's not as simple as that. As if someone does support the Second Amendment, then what do we think about conservatives today? Conservatives are racists, or white supremacists, or just evil people. So now the idea is that any of those very subtle abstract traits can result to someone in the public eye being viewed as a racist, and that's a scary thing.
Yeah, and even on the flip side, you could even say that if someone doesn't believe in something the same thing as you do, they're ostracized. So, for example, if you don't share the same thought that Donald Trump was a horrible, horrible person, and you just can't come to terms with or disagree with something like that, then they automatically say, "Oh, so you must like Donald Trump," which is not even the case. He or she didn't say that. It's just that now it's more so opposites, if not then so, that type of thing. And then also another component that's I would say is detrimental to society would be that this checklist mentality has created homogenous populations in a nation that's so diverse. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to industries, for example, like academia or TV, film production, right? That's more left-wing bias, right? Yeah. But then more like automotive, construction, that's right-wing bias. So you could see how checklist mentality has seeped into every single industry and how it works today.
It truly is in every single industry of our lives, and that's a dangerous thing because another thing it does, it destroys public discourse too.
Right.
Because public discourse is just the idea that as a democracy, we're supposed to come together and have literal verbal debates on our ideas. And then the goal, which has completely been erased, the goal is to compromise. And the goal is moderation. Now, of course, today, the goal, as we've seen in our TikTok comments, as we've heard, the goal is
literally
is to survive if you're not in power. And if you're in power, then to do literally anything that you want.
Yeah.
So, no, but the goal has always been to compromise. And now, the thing about that, why it affects public discourse, is because you're not going to have public discourse with someone who you've already assumed the worst of. Like, if I think someone's a complete idiot, then I'm not having public discourse with them. I can say that straight. Like, I don't engage in public discourse with people who I don't respect their intellect, who I don't think can have a good conversation, who are just going to be irrational and emotional. I don't think there's any value to that. And also, obviously, if you think you know so many things about the person, if you're already set on what they believe in before they've even explained themselves, then what's the point in the conversation in the first place?
Yeah, and that's literally the whole premise of what the check mentality does to people in general. Yeah. Because now, since they assume that they already know who you are and what you believe in, there's no need for a discourse or trying to understand the other person's point of view, which is obviously the exact opposite that we want.
Exactly, yeah. So we have some numbers.
Yeah. So just to go back to real quick, the political, I don't know how to pronounce the word, homogeneity.
I was gonna homogeneity. Because that sounds very.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to homogenous populations. Yeah. And so, for example, that could even be within industries. So, for example, in the healthcare system, this stat from the New York Times. Don't usually like the New York Times, but that's a different story. Reports that 77% of infectious disease specialists are registered Democrats, right? Mm-hmm. But then 67% of surgeons are registered Republicans. So even within healthcare industries, right, there's differing aspects. And then, so to get into the whole atmosphere of politics today, right? Mm-hmm. There has been a shift in animosity. So back in the 1980s, there was about 50%. In terms of if someone's a Democrat, there's a 50% chance that they're okay with the other side across the aisle, right? So that was the stats in 1980. Now, leading up to 2020, that number has dropped to around 15-16%. So now about 85% of the time, if someone's on the other side, they probably don't like you.
That's what me, Jesse, Ian, and Kant's clan was named Animosity.
It's called Animosity?
In Halo 4.
Halo 4?
I think 2012.
Nice.
Yeah. Animosity's bad. It's bad.
Animosity's bad. Yeah. But yeah, but you could see how throughout time, depending on whatever political affiliation that you side with, that growing animosity has, every decade has gotten worse and worse.
To 15%. That's huge.
From 50.
Yeah, from 50.
So, yeah. So you can see it's not surprising from the results that we have today because, chances are Republicans don't even talk to Democrats nowadays, and vice versa. They don't even bother to have a conversation with people.
Which is a dying breed as well, because it is also true that conservatives do make that effort to talk to liberals more than liberals make that effort to talk to conservatives.
I would argue for that, yeah.
Yeah. But even now, with these statistics, because you just can't get through to people, and when you realize you can't get through to a person, I mean, it takes a very, very stubborn person to try to keep on pushing for that. Mm-hmm. And conservatives for a long time have been kind of censored and ostracized and pushed out of these speaking situations, and now, obviously, they start to give up a little bit and just, kind of return to your corner.
Yeah, and so it's one thing to believe in whatever you want to believe.
Mm-hmm.
But it's another thing to say or believe that if someone doesn't believe the same things you do, they must be a bad person.
Yeah.
And that's the whole premise of what's happening with the whole increase in animosity between parties, and the whole identity politics within each party as well.
And you see that, like, that's a very cancel culture-esque type of ideology, because cancel culture, the idea is that from the left, if someone disagrees with you politically, then you want them to basically be removed from society. You want very bad things to happen to them. Then on the right, if you disagree with someone politically, then you don't wish that, but you boycott them more respectfully. And you can see that, and we'll get into some, when you talk about the statistics on workplace political comfort in the workplace for sharing your political values, you'll see.
That's gonna be the next video, but. Yeah. I'll put it.
Oh, so you have to wait for that one. But yeah, leftists are always a little bit more violent and more aggressive with how they attack their side than conservatives are.
Yeah, it's just not really good. The whole political atmosphere does not allow for any type of thought. And I just want to point out that, for example, like in today's age, it's harder to side with a differing ideology than compared to what your own party would believe. So, for example, it's harder for a Democrat to side with anti-abortion policies today than it was about 40 years ago.
Yeah, and I mean, a big reason for that is the media. The media, people just watch the news now. They watch the news, and what the news says is what they believe, and they don't think for themselves. So, obviously, CNN is going to spit 100% leftist propaganda. Fox News is going to spit 100% right-wing propaganda. There's not going to be any type of moderation, and respectfully so. Why would there be? This is the job of these. There's no moderate news stations.
No.
This is the job of these news stations. The people who just watch those news stations, they don't think for themselves, then they're going to believe 100% right or 100% left, and that's a true danger, because and one thing that I want to push home in the next video, but we'll mention now, is that what people need to realize is that your political identity is yours to define. It's not like you're going to be told everything you believe in. That was never the point of America in the first place, that you're going to get told. Why wouldn't we be a dictatorship then? Or why wouldn't we just be a one-party state?
Yeah, and the thing is, nowadays, the parties that we have now have taken a clearer stance in what they believe in. It wasn't like that 40 years ago, where it was more like... you go for whatever policies you want, but we have like a general core ideas and values. But nowadays it's very clear, and now people even change their viewpoints to match their party rather than have their own viewpoints and match who they are as a person and what they believe in. And which causes another problem in itself.
Yeah, I think that because, like, you look at, if you are curious about it, look at JFK's policies and look at how today JFK would be assumed a Republican, and you look at Ronald Reagan and his immigration policies, which are very democratic. Right. And even in times like that, with these super popular presidents who were great presidents, as a Republican in that JFK election, I would have had major issues. Looking at the two, I don't know who JFK ran against, but looking at the two candidates, seeing all of JFK's policies, I would have had a major issue choosing between him and the Republican candidate. And all these, but now today you have Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. I mean, I guarantee that 45% of voters, or maybe even more, went into the campaigns knowing who they were going to vote for. And then like 30% probably had an idea. Right. And then there was like 15% or 20% who were actually on the fence.
Right, and that's a huge shift in how voters are right now.
Yeah.
Because now voters, they don't even look at who's running.
Yeah.
They just look at what color are they, blue or red, and it's like, I'll just go for that. Yeah. Which is horrible. They don't, like, you could go down the street and ask, like, oh, so what are the policies of this person that you voted for? They would not be able to name any.
And that's a conversation we had months and months and months ago out here, before I was just a political baby. Was we spoke about how, because I was brand new to it, and even I was saying then, this election is already decided.
Yeah,
before we even got to the debate stage. Like, this election is already over. Like, I didn't know who was going to win, but no one was switching sides.
Yeah. And on top of that, there's another element to it where political parties on both sides, they know, I'm sure they're aware that they can't appease to every single person and every single person's ideology, so this, which is another reason why they do have clear stances. But what they definitely do they know that they're able to do is to be able to make sure that whoever sides with their political party know what's wrong with the other side, which they do more with that than they do with their own policies and core beliefs.
True. Yeah, it's become a game of let's win by all means rather than let's appease as many people as possible, with that mindset of I'm not going to please everybody because that's irrational, but I'm going to try to win the majority of Americans to vote for me, And then any time that has happened, at the very least, it was just a bad presidency. It was never extremely divisive or completely detrimental or muttering idiot in office. It was always just like, okay, he was a bad policy president.
Right.
But then again, he justifiably and respectively won the majority of the American people. So leadership-wise, he wasn't bad.
Right.
Or policy-wise, he wasn't horrible. And now this is the shift that we have, where you have President A, who is divisive as hell, and President B, who no one can understand, which is just a complete shift.
Yeah, and just a general stat right now, I think it was also done by the Cato Institute as well. Around 60 to 7% of people view fellow citizens of the other party as a serious threat. So you can obviously see the rift. And it goes to show, like, even in our last video, when we talked about unity and how the flag is supposed to represent unity, I mean, even now, with that high percentage of people thinking that the other party is a large threat to America and how we run our society, I mean, now you could see, like, the flag. It's not surprising where people would think that it was divisive.
And you can literally look up the clips of Joy Reid, who's a CNN anchor, saying that Trump voters are the issue. I mean, there are 74 million Trump voters in America. They're not. You can't generalize to say they're the issue. It's that whole mentality of how if you voted for Donald Trump, then you're a white supremacist.
Yeah,
it's completely irrational, completely dumb. And I want to go over some. Let's play a game. So I listed a bunch of stuff. All right,
we should have more people with this.
I know that would be good,
that would be fun,
because you're gonna get them all right.
Yeah.
But all right, so we'll have a small conversation about some of them then, because you're gonna get them all. But which ones? This is the checklist mentality in action. It's just, right. I'm gonna name abstract things that have nothing to do with politics, and Nomal's gonna guess every single one on whether they're conservative or liberal.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Home ownership.
Right.
Right wing. Because the New York Times the other day, if you fly a flag over your lawn, then you're racist.
Probably own a house.
Yeah, like
you're renting the house to fly the flag. That's it.
Homosexuality.
Left.
Which is crazy, because you have plenty of homosexuals who are conservatives.
Right. But for some reason, I guess on the right, you can't identify as a homosexual.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's because
doesn't make any sense.
Since the fact that homosexuality pushes against traditionalism, it's immediately associated with liberalism. But that's not true, because true conservatives see the beauty in perfect liberalism, that some change is good, but homosexuality is leftist. Unemployment benefits.
Left.
Yeah, leftist, which is weird, because I claimed unemployment during the pandemic. I'm a conservative.
Yeah.
But for some reason, work is now associated with being a conservative. Staying at home, being a socialist, because socialists stay at home, is a leftist.
Yeah, apparently. And then if you pay rent, you should deserve some part of equity in the house. True story. I've read that multiple times.
So unemployment benefits.
Yeah.
Leftist.
Yeah.
Let's see. American flag.
Right.
Which is crazy. Which is just crazy.
Which shouldn't be the case.
This flag.
It should be both sides.
Yeah, this flag, it means so much to so many Americans. It has done so much for so many Americans, and now it's a rightist idea.
Mm-hmm. I have a question for you after we're done with this.
All right, let's do a couple more.
Yeah.
Masks.
We can do all of them if you want, but masks are left.
Masks are leftist.
Yeah. And
even on this podcast, we've come out and said that at the beginning we supported masks because we didn't have the research on what they would do, so it seemed like a good idea.
We had no idea what to do, but you see, it's so stupid. Both sides are so dumb because literally in the beginning of the pandemic, the right was like, why we wear masks? Like, there's an obvious reason. It's a pandemic. The whole world is affected, but they want to make an excuse for not to wear masks. And then the left, like, we had the vaccine, everything's open, but they still want to wear a mask with the vaccine. Like, you see how dumb people can get? You know,
there's just no common. What does Tim Scott say? Common sense ain't so common. Yeah, exactly. So that was the thing, was that we were against masks in the first place because it seemed like an infringement on our personal rights. But now I saw a lady wearing a mask in her car before with the windows closed, and I'm like, why? You are ruining it.
She's probably vaccinated.
Yeah, she's probably vaccinated too. You know, why I was looking at her is because she almost hit my car, and then I beeped at her for like a minute, and I drove up to and looked at her, and she was wearing a mask.
Nowadays.
Yeah,
just a side note.
She's wearing a minivan. She was wearing a minivan. She was driving a minivan. But yeah, masks have become a leftist thing. So
even the simple thing as a face covering is politicized.
Yeah,
crazy.
Let's see, physical fitness.
Right.
Which is so weird
because you can't be fit and be a Democrat.
Yeah.
Like, how does that make sense?
Like something about just like the testosterone of being in the gym and just being like a hard worker, individual, hardworking
all that stuff,
is rightist.
It's right,
and physical fitness, what does it push against? Body positivity
and sizeism and all that stuff. Like you have to love yourself and accept your body for what it is, or I said who it is, like what it is. Like it's crazy.
So physical fitness is a conservative idea now, which is crazy. Religion, easy one.
Right.
Yeah. So like Christianity and Catholicism, you have people burning the Bible in streets and people F Jesus and all that. America was built on Judeo-Christian values. It's their Bill of Rights is a reflection of the Bible. They make you put a hand on the Bible when you go into court. A lot of things from the American system was built on Catholicism.
Yeah, now, it's literally the foundation.
Yeah,
of
exactly.
It was built on that as well.
So obviously that's tradition. That's conservative. If you're religious, then you're a conservative, which is crazy because I know religious Democrats. And also, religion is a lot more than just Christianity and Catholicism. There's a lot of other religions, too. So just associating religion abstractly with one side of the political spectrum immediately marginalizes and alienates a large percentage of people.
Yeah, and saying, like, religious terms such as God and stuff like that is, for some reason, offensive.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm not Christian, but I'm not going to be offended by, putting, like, swearing the oath to say the truth, like, in the court.
Exactly.
It's
that's
just
the system.
Yeah, it's just the system.
God is not, it doesn't directly correlate to the Christian God.
Everybody believes in their own God if you have religion. If that religion has a God.
Saying the word God is racist? I mean, it's just like...
It's almost a translation word.
Yeah.
Like, that's all it is.
And even pushing back on Jesus, well, Jesus exists in the Muslim religion too.
Yeah.
They don't believe that he is that he's the Son of God, but there's no refuting that he existed. So even then, you're just religion. It's not just Christianity that religion is associated with conservatism.
Yeah.
We spoke about veganism, which is, I mean, it's a funny one.
Yeah.
But it's like the killing and the slaughtering of animals means that you're a conservative.
Yeah, and you're a carnivore.
Yeah.
Only exclusively eating meat and steaks, like if you're on the right.
You know how short you would live if you only ate steak?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
you died. Yeah.
I think there's some pretty serious health concerns with only eating steak.
Yeah.
And I mean, hey, but if you want to say that just eating plants all day makes you a liberal, then keep it. Because my diet is very split between plants and meat, and I like my diet, but if you guys want to keep the plants and we'll keep the meat, then
I love steak.
Yeah, it's fine by me.
Side note.
Figure it out. Who gets the bread though? That's what we have to find. That's what we have to figure out. I guess bread comes from
isn't bread and wine part of the...
It's wheat, so it comes from the ground.
No, I was making a Bible term. A Bible reference.
Yeah.
Bread and wine.
Bread and wine is the body and blood of Jesus.
So I guess the right side.
Yes! That's awesome. BLM support.
Left.
That's scary too because...
That's scary.
BLM Inc. versus BLM hashtag. I support BLM hashtag. I think Black Lives Matter. I think All Lives Matter was the wrong response. But now BLM Inc. has corrupted Black Lives Matter hashtag.
Yeah. Because, I mean, BLM Inc. literally stole the money that people donated and then used it for their own personal gain and use.
Yeah, exactly. And they've just, like, corrupted plenty of people.
People don't know that. And people don't want to admit that,
They don't know the differentiation, the distinction between the two. Yeah. The movement, the
statement
altruistic
and the organization.
Movement. Yeah, and then the organization. So now BLM posting that black square means you're a crazy liberal. Israel and Palestine.
Well, if you side with Palestine, you're on the left. And if you side with Israel, you're on the right.
Which... That's typically how it goes because America's always sided with Israel, the biggest ally in the Middle East. So if you're a traditional nationalist American, then you side with Israel because they're a strong democracy in the Middle East. But that huge situation, especially since we covered it, and how much stress it was to learn everything about that, that like the idea that something as complex as that situation, and you just naturally associate with one side, that's
without doing any research. Yeah. Without having to do anything, you already knew who you would side for, which is horrible.
It's horrible and it's horrifying too because such a scary situation that was going on there.
Yeah, it's not like a small ordeal, you know. Yeah.
And how it spilled over here, and how you have these people fighting in the streets in America, and how in the BLM manifesto it says we support Palestine, the liberation of Palestine, and you can support the liberation of Palestine, sure, but that doesn't have anything to do with Black Lives Matter in America.
No, but the thing is, though, with any type of, persecution or problem that recognized or associated with minorities, they try to, I guess, cling everything together, right? So, for example, you can't, and it goes back into the checklist mentality, because you can't support Black Lives Matter and be pro-Israel now, because now you have to support Palestine if you support Black Lives Matter. That's just the whole checklist, because you can't do one or the other. It has to be both.
Because if you support Israel, then you're supporting the oppression of a people. So yeah, I mean, but then again, the hope is that you can do your research and pick a side for yourself. If you are a true BLM supporter and your true pushing point is that you hate the oppression of people and you see it there, then you will side with Palestine. But the harm is that you didn't even do that. And
it's just side picked automatically. It's picked for you. Yeah, that's really the premise of it.
It's like, imagine how boring like trick or treating would be if you didn't get to pick your own candy. You know, like you went to houses and just like you had to put a blindfold on and they put it in there. You got all those little Goobers.
I need all the Reese's.
You know the Goobers?
No, I don't.
Those things are a good thing you don't know them. They're disgusting.
What is that?
They're like these weird little chocolate malt balls.
Wait. Those are good.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
I don't like them. My mom loves those too.
The 2-pack?
I think.
Yeah, they're good.
I think my mom loves. That's my mom's favorite candy.
And
too.
they're like a little. They have like a malt taste.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're good. They're good.
Yeah, I don't like them.
They're.
Oh, what does that mean about me?
Right in.
Where do Goobers go on the checklist? I'm sure we can find it somewhere.
They have a crunch to them.
They have a crunch to them.
Yeah.
I love Crunch bars and stuff, but I just didn't like those. I don't know. But it was cool because my mom liked them, so I just gave them that.
Yeah. She won.
Mothers. No, I'm kidding. Well, mothers is even conservative. Because on the left now we have birthing people is the new term.
You got me on that one.
And that was a joke.
You got me on that
I'm serious.
One. Yeah. So basically having a two-parent household, not even two-parent household that with opposite sexes.
Yeah.
Is a right-wing, like, I don't even know, theory or like ideology.
Yeah. The nuclear family.
Yeah, exactly. And then now, I just don't even understand birthing people.
So birthing people is when a woman is pregnant, but in the 9 months she's pregnant, she transitions over to a man. Now she's no longer a mother or a woman; she's a transgender man who can still give birth because she's a biological woman. Therefore, she's a birthing person.
Wow.
Yeah.
So are there a lot of people for us to even say birthing?
I think there's like 8. Like in the world.
I don't know. I guess you guys could have your own opinion about that.
Yeah, it's a very, very... But hey, it matters though.
I guess it does.
And the nuclear family is a conservative idea.
Yeah.
Which the nuclear family just means... I'm not sure if the definition of the nuclear family... Does it mean man and woman or does it just mean two parents?
Yeah. Well, it means both. Like a two-parent household that are both man and woman.
Oh, it does. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean... Obviously, that can be changed a little bit. I think that there is a huge difference between two-parent household, man and woman, two-parent household with a gay or lesbian couple, than a single-parent household. Mm-hmm. That middle is a lot better than the single-parent. But this idea of the nuclear family, the BLM and Antifa, they want to dismantle the nuclear family. It's part of the socialist agenda.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
it's literally in their organization objective.
Yeah,
it says to dismantle or nuclear family. Yeah,
the nuclear family is what has built every successful country in the world. Strong parents raising strong children. It's just it's the way it works. Even if you disagree, why would you want to dismantle it?
And on top of that, statistics show that kids are way worse off with a single parent household.
35% of African American teenagers who grow up in a single without a father get pregnant.
Wow,
35%.
And then incarceration rates go up as well within a single parent household as well.
Yeah, it's 20% of African American kids without a father end up in prison. I think like 9% end up failing out of high school. 5% are more likely to commit a crime or something.
So what
Huge
really?
Stats.
So what really is your objective, right?
With destroying the nuclear family, it's just the hard pushback against traditionalism.
Yeah, it's a hard pushback, no matter how detrimental it may be to your own people and your own message.
Exactly.
People don't want to talk about that.
On to the next, money,
right.
Yeah. So
for some reason,
fine with that one.
Everybody loves money.
Fine with that. But I mean, how do you earn money is you go and you work and you want to make the most money for yourself, which means you're an evil capitalist. If you want your money to be better than the person next to you, you're not a socialist because that means we all have the same money.
Right.
So
except the elite that are not even affected by socialist policies.
Exactly.
And completely control society.
Yeah.
And countless examples of it. But no, we'll ignore those examples where people are literally perishing.
I saw an interesting statistic today. It said before the pandemic, there was only one person who was valued over $100 billion, and today there's 9.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
The elites do benefit from everything if you don't hold them accountable.
Yeah.
So socialism, I'm not going to talk about it now. Video games.
Video games.
This one was like really tough for me.
I guess it'd be left.
Yeah. Isn't it weird?
Like things that are like not politicized yet, but you kind of do have an idea about where they would coincide. Like it's a weird thing, but now it's normalized. Like the other topics we just literally talked about.
Yeah, because like when I was making this list and I was thinking video games. So what do I think about because I used to play video games every single day.
Yeah.
I haven't played in a while, but
Same.
what do I think about when I think about someone playing video games? What do you need? You need a lot of time. You need to be okay sitting inside and not doing anything for hours and not using the bathroom, and you are gonna rage on the mic. So let's think. A lot of time, no work, okay sitting inside, lazy, and rage on the mic, just extremely emotional. I mean, that seems like a couple liberals I know.
Yeah, it's so funny because with this checklist mentality, you could also almost picture what they would look like. Because, I mean, that's like the whole notion of it, like of checklist mentality. You now know what, like, they're vegan, I don't know, like colored hair, whatever, that's what they say.
Yeah, colored hair,
fat, that's usually what they say. Glasses for some reason.
Glasses.
And then I've seen plenty of pictures with glasses and then like a headset for video gamers, like that. Like how has that become the image of the left?
Even like beards. Beards have become conservative.
Oh yeah, beards. Yeah. But it's also I've seen pictures like stubble, but not even a full beard. Like you can't give them a full beard. You know, like it's senseless, honestly.
Funny.
Yeah.
What else we got? Easy one. Pickup trucks.
Do we have to say that? Right.
Who is it who said the thing about pickup trucks? Was that I think one of the CNN people saying that they're scared. They get scared. Oh yeah, it was a CNN. She wasn't an analyst, but someone talking on CNN who said that how scared she was because she went somewhere that was Republican and so many people were driving pickup trucks, and she was just so scared of the conservatism. It was just like a completely life-changing experience for her. Pickup trucks.
It's a life-changing experience for her to see pickup trucks.
Yeah, she's just so scared. Like she had to go on CNN and just complain. Like pickup trucks have a functional use of carrying stuff that you could not fit in a car that is smaller than a pickup truck, and stuff that's high because there's no bed, there's no roof on the pickup truck. That does not mean you're a racist.
I don't even know what to say. Because,
exactly.
Because now you're automatically on the right side.
Yeah.
Like, you must be Republican.
Smaller cars are now liberal. There's small little green Priuses and
smart cars.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I bought a Camaro, so I guess I'm white supremacist, but I mean, I was looking at Kias too. Kias are super fuel efficient. I'm driving to Florida tomorrow. I took out a bunch of money in cash because I'm so worried
driving?
Yeah, I'm driving. Yeah.
See you next life, bro.
No, I literally took out cash from the bank today because of gas prices. Because I'm going to save 20 cents a gallon. That's actually big.
Yeah.
And I was looking at Kias.
Gas is screwing us.
Yeah.
For real.
Seriously, that's a different topic, though.
Yeah, that's a different topic.
You just killed my
I cry every time I put the gas on. I just start crying until I get the full tank. I keep on crying and I get the full tank. Okay.
It's like the scene from Naruto after Jiraiya dies. He's sitting on the bench with a popsicle. That's just you at the gas pump. Yeah. It's like you just see the single tear.
Single tear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But these fuel efficient, economically efficient, smart to buy, efficient cars are now liberal. Yeah. I mean, I think Kias are awesome.
It ties into the whole environmentalist ideology, you care about the environment, so you must be left. So if you care about the environment and you're left, you must get like a fuel efficient car.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which I mean, the Kia Optima I wanted, it averaged like 28 miles per gallon. It was awesome.
That's a lot.
The Camaro was just like 17.
Yeah.
So, but it also looks really cool.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
and also the pickup truck, the construction.
Truck. Yeah.
Right side. It goes into industries as well.
Bad on gas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Horrible. On gas.
Pickup trucks are bad too.
Yeah.
The last one I have, and this was one that was interesting too, was sports. So this is where I stood on it. I said that sports. Would you agree that sports a couple years ago seemed conservative?
Would I agree with that?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't agree with that.
Because I would say that now sports have become liberalized.
That's a weird one because, I don't know. So it could go both ways. I think leagues, right? Professional sports, you could coincide with the left side.
Yeah.
But then I think it goes to the whole working out, athleticism, all that stuff. Sports on the non-professional amateurism side would be on the right.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, but high school and down.
I'm talking like spectating.
Oh, spectating,
Yeah.
it'd be left.
It's left, and it's so weird because like the entertainment industry exists outside the rules a little bit because this is all like stuff that we experience, we go through, and we know, meet, physical fitness, the American flag, stuff that we can personally relate to. The entertainment industry is something that we consume.
Yeah.
So that's why it used to be neutral. Like it didn't. There was no conservatism. Right. Maybe in different sports, like baseball was more conservative because it was like America's game, but basketball was like the new thing, so it was very even. Football is very robust.
Yeah.
And you think about like the demographic and the target market for sports audiences are generally like older males.
Yeah.
And middle-aged to older males.
Yeah.
While like younger females, people who are typically liberal, don't really consume sports at the same rate.
That's very
so
true.
At that point, that's why I thought that sports then maybe more to the right. But now they've completely ostracized conservative values. So that's why sports ratings are just abysmal because you've taken out the target market that you used to focus on. But now the other side that you've emphasized bringing, they don't care about sports.
Yeah, and then they bring in left-wing ideologies into sports.
Yeah.
Thinking that they are doing the right thing. It is the right thing to support right causes, right? But it's another thing to implement it wholly into a organization
that's based on
and
entertainment.
make it their identity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's all I got. I mean, those are just some things on the checklist mentality. Honestly, we joked about Goobers before, but I think that if you searched hard enough into this ideology, you could definitely associate like everything to this, like mowing the lawn is conservative or something. But
yeah,
you could. It's something that's very dangerous.
Yeah. So I got a question for you based on that list.
Okay.
Based on that list, what are the things that weren't politicized about, I guess, 40 years ago?
So the things that weren't based on this list?
Yeah, so like more so newly politicized.
The American flag, for sure. Home ownership, because that was the goal of everybody.
Yeah, it was. It was a huge goal for everybody, yeah.
Unfortunately, homosexuality, because it was a very... you're still talking the 70s, so then definitely leftist. Because if you go even further back, then homosexuality was persecuted against by pretty much everybody. So, but in the 70s, then we're talking leftist. National anthem, I didn't even go over that one because that one's pretty simple. I also had Donald Trump. But we didn't even
this not even this one.
Physical fitness was one that was neutral.
Yeah, everybody would want to get fit.
Meat and veganism. There was really,
yeah.
I guess if you were a vegan, you were an outlier. Very, very much so. Like 40 years ago, that really wasn't a popular movement. But it wasn't like if you eat meat, then you hate black people or anything.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Pickup trucks back then, religion back then, the Israel-Palestine debate, you had your own opinions, making money. That has been the goal of everyone for as long as time has existed.
Yeah.
And then just like...
a lot of new ones.
Yeah, so there's a lot of them that... And on the left side, body positivity, that was something that wasn't a thing 40 years ago.
Just to note, I think a lot of things that are on the left side are more so recent developments, though.
Oh, definitely.
Like body positivity, sizeism is definitely new.
Yeah, and I think that those racial division statistics that we showed, when it really started in 2014, was when race relations really started to decline.
Absolutely.
That was when you can really look at as like things that were the catalyst for this. And yeah, a lot of this stuff definitely 40 years ago, not a thing. Americans agreed.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I think that we can jump into the next one now.
Yeah,
next video. So the next video, we're just going to explain... Obviously, the checklist mentality is bad. Now we're going to talk about how to push back against it, what you should do, and basically how you become a moderate in this crazy age.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the hardest things you probably do in 2021.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to, of course.
All right, so we'll see you guys soon, all right? Peace out.